There are moments in every athlete's life when the body is trained, the swing is perfect, the mechanics are locked in, and yet something invisible takes over. The hand tightens, the breath shortens, and suddenly the body that once obeyed you now betrays you. Not because you forgot how to perform, but because performance is never just physical. We've seen it at the highest level. Tiger Woods putting the ball in the wrong hole and his wife sharing a golf club with him, and the emotional pressures that surface during a performance. And this is not just about a skill. It's because there's a deeper system running the show. Today we're interviewing Adam Houck, mid-amateur golfer who saw massive results after working with Robert. And it is my honor to introduce my BFF, Robert Jean, founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute and creator of Eutaptics and FasterEFT. He is known as the Einstein of the mind. Robert has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, shift emotional patterns, and create measurable, lasting change. And before we get started, hit subscribe so you can grow with us every single week as we explore the mind, human behavior, practical skills that will transform your life. And now here is Robert.
Yeah, this topic is really close and dear to my heart because sports has really helped change my life in a big way. Not knowing it, of course, and most of you may know my story partially, but, I moved with my grandmother. I was not very good in school. And honestly, if it hadn't been for sports, I probably would have dropped out already. And so Coach Carter would come and he would invite us from PE to go to wrestling practices. And that really helped change my life because, it gave me something I was good at, and that's doing physical things. And I remember, I don't know the story because it's so long ago, but I remember reading maybe something about hypnosis or about how the mind works. And, like I was always on the B team, and there was a guy named John Clark. Now, John Clark, had a mustache. He already had a child at 15 years old. He was on the A team and I had to go against him. And I would come out bruised, my face would be all this, but I end up beating John Clark and I become the A team. But it wasn't by accident. It was by determination. And I was reading this stuff about how the brain works and how hypnosis works. And I would lay in bed and I would play and I would wrestle in my head over and over again. And I would do this every night. And I would try to learn new moves, new techniques, and perfecting what little did I know. And so I end up being on the A team. And then as I continued practicing this, we'd go to a wrestling tournament. And of course, to be a champion, you had to at least win 4 matches in a row. And I wrestled the whole day, only less than 4 minutes, and I won every match. And I was like in my zone, so to speak. I was using that. I was playing it in my mind over and over again. And so, I got a scholarship for wrestling and all that stuff. But the point that I want to make is that it improved believe it or not, it improved my school performance too, because it built self-esteem. It built personal power. It gave me like I can do something, instead of being a nothing. So I was always a person at that time. I wanted to know more. Like I would study different things. And my coach at the time, he had a perfect escape and I mirrored it. And I was out like that fast because I perfected it. And I think it's just because I practiced it in my mind. So, sports is really important. But I also to say this, the body speaks the score from what the mind holds. That means when you practice something, your brain records that action, that physical behavior. And it's like over the years, because what I really like is to help people change big stuff. Worst traumas, worst fears, and I'm an expert at it. I'm a trauma expert. I can help anyone get rid of the worst possible traumas you could ever imagine. Working in drug rehabs where it's the mecca of traumas, you name it, it's there. War memories, rape memories, murder memories, all kinds of stuff. And we clean it up to where it happened, but it's not true anymore. So, doing this, I'd occasionally have like Marilyn, her boyfriend was a golfer. Now, he was no great golfer. I'm not a golfer. I mean, if you call me a putt expert, I think I played a few times. So for me to be able to help somebody with any sport, I don't need to know the sport. I just have to know what they do inside their mind and what keeps them from perfecting their skill. So this guy comes in and I work with him 30 minutes. And all I did is I listed his bad spots, the bad areas. And he went back and he went golfing and he came back and said, you knocked 12 strokes off my game. And by the way, that's just 30 minutes, just cleaning up his mental game. And I mean, he was no scratch golfer. He was like in his hundreds. I don't know what the best scores are, but he was not that great. But I said, tell your buddy. He said, no, I'm winning money. I said, you winning money doing this. So I said, you sucker. It was free too, by the way. So, but anyway, so, working with golfers that way. And there's another guy too. Um, I say he's in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. I don't know. He booked an appointment with him and with me, and he says, I'm in this golf tournament. And he says, and I said, well, where's the problem? Of course, I know a little bit, the putts and the long drives, etc. And I said, well, what's your problem? He says, I always do great at first. I always do really great at first, but at the end of the game, it goes to hell or goes bad. And I said, have you ever experienced this before? I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to be a sharpshooter. Same thing. I do great at first, and at the end of it, I go bad again. Anything else? And I think it was another sport he did. It was the same thing. And then he goes back to an earliest memory when he was a kid. And when he was a little kid, he was a great baseball player. He was really good. I mean, he was in the kitchen talking to dad, said, I'm really great. I'm really good. And his dad backhanded him, knocked him down, said, boy, you're getting too big for your britches. You need to humble yourself. And from that point forward, he was no longer great. So that emotional impact impacted every game from that point forward. He could do great at first, but he can never finish first because of what his dad did. Now that's an unconscious memory. Now, when we were working on that, it showed up. And we cleaned it up, and this is no lie. He was in the middle of a tournament. It was this weekend. It was Friday. He came to see me. I worked on it, and he wrote me a testimonial. He says, "I'm on the 17th hole. I'm 4 strokes behind. I don't know how that ball knew where to go, but I won that tournament."
That's
And
amazing.
so he's thinking it's the ball. It's his brain. When we
Right.
knocked out the pain or the emotional training, you can call it a trauma, he got
Right.
from daddy.
Yeah.
So this is it's been going on. I mean, I've been helping a lot of people a lot of times, and I've been telling a story. And I know, and the weird thing is, I've been telling a story, and I didn't know it was Adam's story because I remember working on this guy. I have no idea who it was in my mind. I just remember working on this guy, and he's a scratch golfer. And you know what? I don't know what a scratch golfer is. I said, "What is it?" He goes, "Well, if it says 4 shots, I'll do it in 4 shots." And I said, okay, so you do it in 4 shots. But I said, let me ask you, how do you do it? I mean, what are you doing inside yourself? How did you get to be where you are? And I elicited his internal strategy and I used it on a lot of other people. For example, there was a bull rider who came. Now, a bull rider, ride bulls. And he was number one. He was the top.
Wow.
Until one day he was riding a bull. The bull went that way. He went that way. And he got hurt. From that point forward, he was not on top. And I said, okay, so I said, all right, so let's go back. Now, I want you to be there. You're on the bull. They're going to let you go. What are you doing inside yourself? He says, I'm replaying the ride that went the wrong way. And
Oh,
guess what happened? Every time I got on the bull, he went the wrong way and the bull went the other way and he fell off.
right.
After we cleaned this memory up and emotional intensity up, he began to be on top again.
Mhm.
So, most people don't realize that once you have the skill set, once you have the talent, the know-how to play anything, whether it's golf, whether it's um, tennis, or whether it's volleyball, whether it's trade selling, whatever it is, once you have the skill, the rest of it becomes emotional. The emotional dynamics screw you up. We talked about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was the top of the game. He was really the top, one of the best, right? And then, he did something stupid. Yeah. He put the ball in the wrong hole and his wife gave him a golf club across his head. I don't know if it was a head, but he gave him a golf club. And then he left. He had an accident. And of course, the shame, humiliation, the embarrassment, humiliation, did it get rid of his skill of playing golf? And the answer is no. But his emotions screwed him up. His emotions affected him. This is the number one thing. I had a red shirt football player come to see me. Red shirt, which means he's a walk-on. They're getting ready to choose quarterback. And of course, his aunt was one of my master practitioners, and he came in. And I said, what's the problem? And he says, well, they're getting ready to choose quarterback. I don't think I'm going to be chosen. I said, you're one of the greatest quarterbacks of that university ever known. Now, when I have a client come and see me, I know they're the best. Whether the best at depression, the best at feeling like a failure, the best at feeling alone. You're the best. Mm-hmm. And if you're a golfer or a volleyball player or a football player, I see greatness in you. And so what I started doing is eliciting his strategy on how he's not going to be chosen. Because that's a plan unconsciously. He wants to be chosen. And first of all, I said, well, where do you see the problem? Is these other guys are older and they're more skilled than I am. I had a sucky high school year. I was quarterback, but it sucked. I did a lot of bad, dumb things, And then I go on, I ask any other questions. Do you have any tough spots with your training or coaches or parents? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we cleaned all those up. We adjusted every unpleasant memory. I'd have him go to all the bad throws that the ball landed in the wrong place. Everything. And so in his mind, I walked him through and I also told him about Larry Bird. Larry Bird, they hired him to do a commercial and his job was to miss the ball, miss the hoop. He couldn't get it in. It took him like 17, 19, 20 times to miss it because he was so programmed to get it right. I told him about Arnold Schwarzenegger. How he would walk into a weight competition and he walked around like he won.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He won. He walked around like he was a winner. And guess what? He was the winner. Mm-hmm. Because it's more emotional than it is physical, and I see young kids coming in and they, like this 7-year-old, now she's, having troubles doing backflips. And by the way, I'm a backflip expert. Never, but I don't have to know how to do it. They do. And so what I did is I had to figure out why she couldn't do it. She could before. And what has happened is she saw someone else do it and they got hurt. That pain, that fear screwed her up. So we had to clean up all the parts and pieces. And I deal with parents, kids and their parents. A lot of the issues are the pressures, the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the forcing of this and not being good enough and always measuring themselves amongst. All these are programmings that keep you from doing great. They do great until the pressure's on. Because then it feels like it's mom on you or dad on you. So we had to clean the pieces up. And so sports performance is mental performance. You can have a child or anyone who's really good at something and they're the best, but mentally they weren't. And guess who wins? The one who wins the competition is the one who stayed in their zone. I call it the trance. They win. The ones who come out of their zone, they end up screwing up. Or not really screwing up. They keep following the training that they've got. Mm-hmm. So saying all that, it's competition, personal value, emotional conditionings and trainings do affect your performance. Now, we're talking about sports. We're also talking about your personal job. We're also talking about your relationships. We're also talking about any part of your life. Mm-hmm. This plays the number one role. It's what you do inside you affects what you do. And why you do what you do affects why you do and don't, And it's like even with like Tim, like I've talked about Tim many times. He's a major learning point for me. He's very successful, big company, beautiful family, beautiful home, beautiful everything. And I go out to the foyer and bring him in. He looks like a drug addict. Looked like somebody backed over him a couple of times with the truck. He looked really bad. I go, hey, Tim, what's wrong? What's going on? And he says, I think the world would be better off without me. I said, what's going on? Why would you think that? Well, little old Tim had a story when he was like in second grade. And the teacher said, you're just as sorry as your dad. You'll never amount to anything. And that pain of those words made him want to be somebody. And he worked hard. He saved money. He worked. He educated himself. He became somebody. But inside of little old Tim was that little boy who was still hurt. And we got rid of the hurt. We addressed the pain. And now he's on top of the game again. But this is how emotions impact our performance in all areas of our life. And just having that knowledge, now, by the way, knowing why, like some people know, well, I know why because my teacher said that. It doesn't change neurological information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could be in years in therapy, know every reason why you're screwed up, seemingly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you're still screwed up. You just got a good history record.
Mm-hmm.
You got proof.
Yeah, and you have lots of journals to prove it.
In therapy.
Yes, and therapy.
Yeah.
So far you're answering all the questions that I have.
Oh,
You're
I'm
very
sorry.
intuitive. You're on point. So I have
Well,
no
you can
questions.
still ask the questions, and I will.
Oh, heck
Some
no.
people didn't get the question or the answer.
The first question was about the sport performance because there's the mechanical piece of learning, like, the training, the repetition, the discipline, and that absolutely matters. But what I heard you say was that sport performance is mental performance.
More so. Now there is what you call the autonomic responses. That means the physical how to do stuff. And you can walk across the floor. As a matter of fact, you can shake a hand. You can make a handshake without thinking. It's just an automatic response. But how can you screw up a handshake? It's easy.
Wow.
You worry
Interesting.
about it. Like, what if I squeeze too tight? What if I don't do too much? What if my hand's sweaty? What if they didn't wash their hands and there's germs all over it? So now you can screw up a handshake just by emotional doing something in your head.
Right. Wow.
So, and that's why things affect, like if you're on a team and you're the one they pick on, they're the one that says, oh, you're the, make fun of you somehow, or how you run or how you walk or your name or your shoe size or where you live or who you're not a part of, that'll impact your performance because now you feel like you're not a part of the team. And then then you have this issue too, so there's a lot of variables when it comes to anything in our life. We're calling it about sports, but it's our personal performance in all areas of our life.
That's right. So when a golfer is standing there, they're ready to, I don't even know what you call that. I was going to say shoot, but
They're
I
going to
don't know
shoot.
what,
Well, we'll have to have
just
our
like catch
expert on golf.
catch a deer,
When you catch a deer, hunt a deer, shoot a deer,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
So
Yeah.
in that split second, there's a moment, like, is there like a split second that the body decides something, or
Well,
is
you
it
have
already
to.
programmed?
All right, so you have to understand the body has no decisions. The body follows the brain. If you go up to the hole and you're going to do a drive or a putt, whatever it is, um, it's what you do before you do affects what you do, which means right before you go up, you're still upset because of what the putter said next to you, or you're thinking about your wife is having an issue, or you're worrying about what other people think. That emotion will impact you going up to the ball.
It
I have
will.
I have some grandchildren. And I just recently went to a volleyball, which I hadn't been in volleyball watching anything since I was in high school. And I go, oh my God, this is all emotional. I can see it. It's all
Wow.
emotional. It's all, and I can see the girls. I don't know what the girl is. Her number is 9. She's in her trance. She's up. She's in her trance. Boom, that ball goes right where it needs to go. But for some people, when the pressure's on, they screw up because again, they haven't, it's not being competent in your performance, it's being mentally in your place, in your zone that keeps you in. And so that's the key. And of course, if you have no coping skills, you have no way to do that, you have to develop one, or you're always going to be hot and cold. You know, you're going to screw up here and do well over there because the environments or the situations dictate different behaviors.
Okay, so how do you get in the zone?
Well, you make sure that you clean up anything that keep you from going into the zone. You
Okay,
practice the zone. It is a trance. It is a state of mind.
right. What if someone yells something from the crowd like seconds before? What do you do in that
You
moment?
don't hear it.
Oh, how do you do
You don't
that?
give a shit.
Okay.
It's their mental focus. It's
Okay.
mental
So
focus.
really they're not even focused then on the crowd. They're not.
No,
They
no,
are in their zone already.
yeah, they're already in their
Okay.
zone. Now,
Okay.
I don't know. I might have been Adam that I worked on because I've been telling a story about Adam. I didn't know it was Adam. I just knew it was a golfer I worked with.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, you know, Adam will share later, I guess, if it was him. Why don't you introduce Adam? Yeah, introduce Adam, and then I'll share this, and he can say if it was him or not because I don't even remember.
All right, so we're going to introduce Adam here. Adam Houck is one of the best mid-amateur golfers in Virginia. He's a regular contender at the premier amateur events. He won his first major VSGA four-ball championship with Blake Carter at Bay Creek Resort in 2022. Among other amateur wins, he's a regular member of Virginia state level team matches and qualified for his first USGA National Championship in 2021. Welcome, Adam.
Hello, friends.
Good to see you, Adam.
You too.
Yeah, I keep thinking, is this because earlier I said, is this you, Adam? Because I remember the strategies that I learned from someone. I knew it was a golfer. And so I wonder if this was you, you know, and we're talking about, you know, like I asked earlier, I said, you know, I tell people, I said, well, you know, what's a scratch golfer? And that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of introduce your story a little bit, who you are, how, you know, et cetera.
Yeah, so I started playing golf when I was 10 years old. And I was at that age where, my parents' marriage was not in a wonderful spot, and my brother is much older than me. And so being that age and kind of being, left on my own to try and figure out some interesting things that I could do on my own, golf, I was just drawn to it for whatever reason. And so my dad had this old set of golf clubs, and I would put it on the push cart. I'd get dressed up as a golfer and I'd go out and just teach myself and hit balls, these little plastic wiffle balls all around our yard. I'd invent holes in my mind, right? You got to go over the house this way, you got to go around the tree that way. And so starting at 10, it just became this thing that I was drawn to and I was good at, and then kept playing, through my upbringing, all through high school, and then continued to play to this day, right? 37 years later, and it's led me to a lifelong pursuit of a couple of things, right? There's so many things that you learn. I think you'll probably mention this at some point, right? But there's so many things that sports teaches us that it's just beyond. It's not just about the golf, right? Lance Armstrong had that book about it's not about the bike. Well, golf is not about golf in terms of what it does to your life. You learn the grit, the resilience, the trust, the respect, the how to compete, how to improve yourself, how to, the discipline, all the things. And there are all those, areas where it's meant so much to me in my life, and how I've been able to to apply it to my work, my relationships, my life. And it's always been there for me, and it still is.
Mm. So, so, you know, when I talk about earlier, we talk about like, um, you know, with a golfer, and if it's you, I don't know if it's you, but
Yes.
maybe I had a golfer come in, maybe it was you. He said, well, when I go to a tournament and it rains, things are slowed down, my golf doesn't go as well. Was that you or is it someone else?
No,
So,
wasn't me.
all right, someone else. So this other guy, this other golfer, he was saying, well, my game, I mean, I'm on cue, I'm ready to rock and roll, but when it rains, it screws me up.
Yeah.
I can't keep my head in the game. And I thought, okay, so I said, well, how do you know you're a golfer? He goes, when I put my shoes on. Well, when you put your shoes on, he's a golfer now. And the problem is, if he's a golfer and it's raining, his golfing ability starts to wane because he can't golf.
Mm.
And I said, well, we need to change your programming. And I said, what we need to do is you're a golfer when you take the club in your hand and then you go what I call go into the zone.
Yep.
Now he's in the zone when he puts his shoes on and the zone starts to weaken because all the disruption. So we just shifted his perception of the game and kept him in the zone in a different way.
Mm.
So, but yeah, so that's again, it's in the zone. Now, when I was working with this quarterback uh, in my office, he was that college's best, one of the best quarterbacks ever had. In my office, he won the Heisman. In my office, he became top draft pick. And I did 1 2 hour session on this guy. And guess what happened after he left? He was one of their best quarterbacks. He won the Heisman and he was top draft pick. He even had his first contract was like $58 million or so, 150, I don't know, it's a lot of money. And he was a professional for 9 years. But in my office, he was not chosen. In my office, he's not going to get it. In my office. And so I said, oh no, you're the greatest. So when you go and we start to adjust internal representations, the whole world began to shift and change. So my question really is for you, Adam. All right, so here it is. You got your clubs and you're out there playing. How did you learn to play golf? What did you do? Did dad show you how to do it? Did your neighbor show you how to do it? How did you get to that point?
Um, I hope my dad doesn't get upset when I say this. My dad wasn't a great golfer. Um, which was okay, right? But what he did have was we had a stack of, so there's this golf magazine, the most famous golf magazine is called Golf Digest. And so my dad had a subscription to it and he had issues dating back years and years. And so there was probably a 2 or 3 foot tall stack of Golf Digest. And so back then the magazine was all about instruction. It was about teaching people how to play. And so I read those things cover to cover. I had upstairs in my office, I still have my first golf club my dad got me when I was, about that age, junior club. And that thing is just beat to tarnation, right? I mean, it's just um so I read all those things and I would turn on the lights downstairs at night. So we had this big sliding glass door and use it as a mirror. And I would mimic in what I would do for myself against what I saw in the magazines, and I would teach myself how to play, right? And I broke a lot of lamps. I broke a lot of light fixtures. I took divots out of the carpet. I did all other kinds of stuff, and I taught myself how to play. And it was, I mean, I don't think I got my first kind of official lesson until I was 17 years old, 16, 17, 18 years old, something like that. So I taught myself how to play based on reading the magazines, mimicking what I saw in the magazines, and then go and, the old adage Ben Hogan always said, you dig it out of the dirt. You go figure it out. And so that's how I learned how to play. It wasn't, getting taken under the wing by someone else and how to do it. No, I went and figured it out.
Yeah. So basically you read the magazines, you mentally process it, you went and practiced it, you became what you read.
Yeah, true.
All right. So then obviously you had to golf somewhere. So you went to school. How did that go in your life?
Yeah, so at a certain point, you get to an age, and I was on the varsity golf team when I was in eighth grade, right, still in middle school, and as a freshman in high school, I was the youngest one to make the travel team to go to states, and we won the state championship my freshman year of high school, and it was after that I decided not to play in college, but I mean, I finished eighth in Virginia when I was a senior in high school, kind of as an individual. And it became this thing of, golf it was always that wonderful place for me, right? It was this ability for me to go practice, to be myself, to develop that independence and that discipline. And, still to this day, I mean, there's so many wonderful things in this world. Still one of the best things in life for me is that
Hmm.
it's a perfectly struck golf shot the sound, the feel, to watch the thing fly straight in the way that you want it. If you look around the world, there's so many bad golfers that it's a bit of a minor miracle when you get it to go right. right? And relishing, and I still get that enjoyment, each and every day. So after, I stopped competing for however many years, and then it became, back when I was, my early mid 20s, I said, you know what? I wonder if I still really enjoy this. So I started picking up competing again, and then, it takes a while to get back into things. And so I still, I still had it, and I found a couple of coaches that would have been wonderful to me, and then it was again, get back to work and do it. And I love competing. But my reasons for competing, I know we'll get into at some point. My reasons now versus earlier in my life are vastly different. Why I play,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
the impacts and the changes of cleaning up so many things in my life that the reasons are so important, and all the work is done. To focus, if you improve the elements of your life, then it shows up in all the areas of your life. It's not like you're focused on this in golf. If you clean up a lot of other stuff, the other stuff just happens.
Yeah. It's a ripple effect.
It
Yeah.
is. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd like to get into that reasons and why,
Yeah.
but another thing too is, you were the guy. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier, and because I said, was this you, Adam, or was it someone else? And of course, I know how the mind works, and I know how things process. And so if you find an expert who knows how to do something, if you get their mental strategy, you can mimic the strategy and replicate it.
Yep.
And so, Adam, I guess, Adam, you said, well, I'm a scratch golfer. And I had no idea what that meant. So, what does it mean? It says, well, if the hole says 4 shots, you do it in 4 shots. And then and I was thinking when I heard it, I go, ooh, jackpot, an expert. And now you get to listen to an expert's mindset. And then, of course, you did share just a little bit ago, you want to read the magazines and you did this in your head. And then I said, okay, so if it says 4 shots, what do you do inside your head? And this is, I think it was you or it was someone else who said, I remember reading a book by Jack Nicholson where he said he'd go to the ball and he would see the ball go in.
Yeah.
Is that what you did, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's the mental processing.
Yeah.
So you go up to the ball, you already see the ball go in. Now, a person who is stressed, they do nothing in their head, or they're worrying about something and they try to hit the ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's and a lot of this goes back to, I mean, when I'm competing and I'm under the gun, I always just put myself back in that mindset of walking around my yard and hitting little wiffle balls
Yeah.
and trying to get the ball to do whatever. And one of the funny things is, I mean, those old balls, you couldn't hit them straight. It was impossible. You couldn't hit them straight. So even now when I play, I mean, a lot of modern guys are taught to kind of hit the ball straight, but I still see the ball curve because when I grew up, you couldn't not curve the ball.
Mhm.
So I know when I play, I see and I'm standing, but before I, walk into it, but when I'm standing back there, I can see a ball fly. I can hear it land. I can superimpose that image of what I want it to do. And I've hit millions of golf balls in my life that I just have that trust in my body that if I can see that shot, then I just step up and I can make that happen. And you
Yeah.
keep doing that until the ball's in the hole, then you go to the next hole. And you do it on the
And
green
yeah.
and
And that goes,
you
yeah.
visualize the same thing, right? It's just
Yeah.
flat on the ground as opposed to flying through the air. But I see that. And when you run out of that, then you go to the next hole.
Yeah. And that's the point I want to make earlier that I said, listen, it's more mental than it is physical.
Oh yeah.
If your mind sees it, your body achieves it.
Yeah, you have
You
to.
know,
Excellent.
and I think back then I said, well, so you said I'd played in my mind, and the more I played it in my mind, the more that ball went where I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So the brain told the body what it needed to do. You didn't consciously, okay, muscle this, muscle that. Unconsciously, the smartest part about you makes it happen.
Yeah, it just happens. It's whether it was Tiger or Hogan or Nicholas or somebody else, they always talked about you can't hit a shot that you can't see.
Yeah.
So you gotta be able to see it.
Hmm.
I mean, you've gotta there's that, faster EFT, all of this. It's you have conscious and unconscious, right? The conscious piece of it is where I can control. What shot do I want to hit? Is the wind off the left? Do I want to hook? Do I want to fade it in? Do I want to move this? How seeing this? The unconscious is the unconscious program where you go into the trance, the cue, you walk in, you hit it, and you don't even remember hitting it, and the ball's flying,
Yeah.
right? And so you're in to
Wow.
understand the difference of those two things and making sure that the conscious does what it's supposed to, and then you turn it off, and then you let your natural ability as an athlete in the training, once that takes over,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Bad stuff happens when you start trying to get the conscious and make things happen with the unconscious. That's when things start to go sideways.
Yeah. And I think another thing, a part of that, like I said earlier, when emotional things are going on, it's hard to be in the game for some people.
Absolutely. It's
And it
impossible.
really, it's how it jacks up things, you know. Right.
Yeah.
Big time.
Eh, I mean, the first time when you and I met for the first time, I hadn't planned on talking about golf.
Oh, really?
Oh,
No,
wow. Is
there was a whole list of, there's a whole list of things that we were going to go through in our session, and I casually mentioned golf, and it was, oh well, let's think about golf, let's talk about golf, and we worked on some of that stuff. But yeah, again, the troubles that I was having were really bad. Like, I mean, the stuff that happened in the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, everything got shut down. And I remember going to I remember clear as day, it was here in Richmond, that clear as day, the first tournament that we were allowed to play in the pandemic. And I remember, so kind of leading up to that, I had started having anxiety, I started having panic attacks, had other kinds of stuff. But golf was hitting balls, fine, no an issue. I stepped to the first tee in this tournament, couldn't hit the shot,
Hmm.
couldn't hit the shot. And I just froze. And it was just a matter of what the hell's going on? What is this?
Mhm.
Clearly, it's not about golf. It's about something
Something
else.
else. Yeah.
It's about something else. And that started that whole thing of, I mean, it was completely unsettling. And it
Hmm.
took, a while to, I mean, it had nothing to do with golf. And so it was working through all the other things that, I mean, it took a while. It absolutely took a while, but all the things outside of the golf course were bleeding into the golf.
Yeah.
It was bleeding into every element of my life, and golf would just happen to be one of them.
Hmm.
Was that the lowest point in your career during that time?
Um, so that was, let me think. That was, I think, July of 2020. The lowest point was probably the following year, where um, this is right, I think, before, Robert and I started working together. But man, this one's kind of tough to go into.
But well, you don't have to go into it. You
No, it's
just,
fine. It's fine. It's fine. But there was so the Virginia State Amateur is the biggest tournament in the state, period. And you play for 2 days, and then it goes down from 150 dudes down into the top 32. You go to match play, then you match play in like an NCAA bracket thing, so you get a winner. So I played one of the rounds of my life in the second round. I forget if I shot 66 or I shot 67 after a terrible first round, and I got into a playoff for the last spot. And unbeknownst to me, they were live streaming the playoff. And I was having panic attacks in the playoff every single shot. Couldn't hit the shot, backed off, couldn't hit the shot, backed off. I was a complete and total mess. I got through the playoff. But when I was done, I drove the cart in the complete opposite direction, found myself underneath a tree and just sat there and cried.
hmm.
And I just realized I can't keep doing this. I cannot, like I won't show up tomorrow if I have to do this. So that was when I really picked up the phone. I called and I got my session with Robert, and we started working through some of this stuff because it took away all the joy, right? It's a conversation I have with my wife all the time about it. There was no joy. It was just the thing that was that refuge for me so much in my life. It felt like it had been completely taken away from me. And I knew that it wasn't golf. I knew it wasn't, but I didn't know what. I did not know what, and that's where I got kind of introduced. My wonderful counselor, Sue DeJesus here in Richmond, started working with her towards the end of 2020, a little bit, in the beginning of 2021, I think. And we started first session, she told me about tapping. And it's like, this is hooky. This can't be real. This can't be real. No way. And I did it a little bit, but I don't think I knew exactly what I was doing. Sue then sent me the email and said, "Hey, Robert's having a happy journal class. I think you'd really enjoy it." So then that's how Robert, you and I got hooked up, happy journaling. And I said, wow, this thing really works. My journal's up in my office. I use it all the time. And that kind of introduced me to the whole, I hate to call it a system, but the process, it's the understanding of how the mind works. It's demystifying that stuff about how the brain encodes things, how the higher, the upper level, the upper view of the world, the lower view of the world, how much agency I have, how this controls me, how I can choose how I encode things, making peace, not resolving, but letting go of things, and how the process actually works, and being empowered to then take control of myself and to go, with the help of you on really challenging stuff, but each and every day when things happen, to work on myself when I'm driving, when I'm walking, whatever I'm doing. And it's, cleaning up all that stuff has just been life-changing.
Mhm. So to actually give you, because I call my system basically it's a philosophy of life.
Yeah.
It's introducing you to who you are and how you process information, show you how to adjust the things that aren't good and how to manifest what you'd rather have instead. So
Yep.
I'm like a guide or a coach.
Yeah.
And plus, you came to see me with panic attacks, obviously. Are you having panic attacks anymore?
No,
Well, that's good.
it's good.
I mean, we worked on many things about your life,
Yeah.
but it also helped you give more power to yourself,
Yeah. It
and
cleaned,
that's what,
yeah. It cleaned up the stuff that, I mean, and it's not like it's done,
yeah,
right? Every day, keep working on it. I mean, come back for session two with you. When I did that, it's like, okay, let's go back and look at session one. Let's make sure that stuff is fine before we move forward. Cool. I mean, the brain still likes to, we know how the brain works.
yeah. And I think one of the best things I feel that this is, first of all, the philosophy says you're not broken, you're not screwed up, there's nothing wrong with you, but your brain is recycling, rehearsing the past. It's trying to protect you. That's why a panic attack happened.
Yep.
And so we say, okay, so life is always changing, and we must continue to adjust to the changes in life and have some capacity, some skill set to
Yeah.
change how I respond right now.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about your problems. We're identifying, associating, adjusting, changing, and moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely
Robert.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Robert, for those listening, they're hearing you say that panic attacks are there to protect you. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Well, panic attacks are created by the unconscious mind, right? So obviously, when a panic attack occurs, I had one. I'll tell you my little brief panic. I didn't know it was a panic attack. It's a typical panic attack that people tell me about. But at the time I was experiencing it, I didn't know what it was. I'm in the airport. I'm thinking, oh, shortness of breath, tightness of breath. I said, what's going on? Is it the smell in the airport? Right. And so I get on the plane. I'm mentally doing stuff. And I say, you'll be okay. Breathe through it. So I get to my destination and go, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that? And I go, because, it's doing something to keep me safe based on something else. Right. So I go, did I have anything bad happen in the airport? Not really. But I do remember 2 times prior to this that they dropped me off one gate and I had to run to the other gate, which seemed like forever. Now, can you imagine this fat guy dragging luggage, running as if he was an athlete? And I get to the other gate and go, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. And guess what? My brain captured that.
Yeah.
And then the third time in the airport, I felt like I was going to die. I thought something was going on. My brain was saying something, you better get ready to run. And so when I cleaned that up and I took my trip again, I went back to America from Hawaii, nothing. I went from America to Europe, nothing. But it was a training. So the brain has a reason why, and it's doing it to keep you safe. Now, I work with thousands of people who had quote unquote panic attacks. So it's just the system trying to protect you. Now, I don't even know why you had yours, but obviously there's a reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's I, I, well, I got to the point of trying to. I sat down with a legal pad one day and I wrote out after I understood, working with you, working with Sue, I wrote out a definition of panic attacks because I wanted to take away this scary, terrifying, my God, what is this? What is this? Was it? And it's like, no. And I've got it written down someplace in some notebook. Like, it's a biological, physiological response to boom, boom, boom. And when you demystify that kind of stuff, and I realized that it was trying to keep me safe, right? I've had experiences where you're sitting in a beach house and you look out at the ocean on a perfect day and you just go and these feelings kind of start and you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? Come on. We're safe, we're inside, we're evolved. What is it? And you go back and you understand, oh, well, the last time I was at this beach was with this college girlfriend. That relationship ended poorly. My brain's telling me, remember, don't get
Yeah.
too safe. This place is not safe. Bad stuff happened to us last time. You got to get out of here. And you go, okay, all right, stay cool. We're good. You tap it out, handle that. But
Yeah.
that understanding, that knowledge to say that's why the brain's saying it's not safe here. And if it's like this, if it's not safe enough, then it's going to start hitting you. And if you're not paying attention, then it's going to flood you with all those chemicals and say, you got to get out of here. That's what it
Mhm.
is. It's trying to
Yeah,
keep you safe.
yeah. So basically, it's a reminder something happened here we don't like,
That's right.
and you all of a sudden you're there consciously go, what the hell's wrong with me? I didn't logically when it was happening in the airport,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I go, is it the smell? What is this?
Yeah.
Nothing
So,
ever
Robert,
happened bad, but my
Robert,
brain wired those pieces together.
Yep.
yeah. Are you saying it's like a distraction?
It's a reminder. It's a
It's a,
reminder. Prepare yourself. Something else bad could happen, or is an anniversary
oh, a reminder. Okay.
or
Interesting.
anniversary.
Ooh, okay. It's good.
It's for me, it was trying to announce whatever situation that you weren't safe.
Yeah,
Hmm.
You're
yeah,
not safe. And you
yeah,
go and you got to figure out why and you got to tap it out, clean it up, and you're good.
yeah. By the way, guess what? You can do it.
Do it.
Before we met, will you give me a bag of pills or let me jump off the bridge?
Yeah, it was a little. Because I mean, look, I mean, they're scary.
Hmm.
They're scary. But I
Yeah.
hate even using that word. I mean, it's scary to start with. I think the right word is they're intense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
I mean,
right.
your body's got some powerful stuff that it can do to you, and you got to listen to it.
Yeah, you have to realize that it's the brain using the body to catch you conscious. I mean, it's like my ex-wife, she'd say somebody's birthday today. She just comes up, somebody's birthday today. Next thing I know, her brain gives her somebody's birthday. Out of the blue, her brain programmed to remember birthdays for some reason. Well, I was on the airplane, I was in the airport, and my brain says, something interesting happened here. And all of a sudden, boom, panic attack.
Yeah.
So like you're at the beautiful place and your brain goes, something interesting happened. All of a sudden you have panic attacks. Like, oh shit, another heartbreak. It's not safe, etc. It's
Right.
you're not broken. It's just the brain is a survival has a survival system, you
True.
know. So and it's the same way with sports performance. If you get somebody who's super good and if they had a quote unquote trauma or witness a trauma or something bad happen, associated to the sport, all of a sudden their game can go to hell. I mean, working with somebody and they were really great, they had a good time, and then something bad happened to her. The other team members bullied her and picked on her because they were jealous of how good she was. All of a sudden, she didn't want to be good anymore because it wasn't safe to be good, you know. And her motivation was to what she, like you said, I love being out there on the golf course. I love doing that. It made me feel good. So there was a good thing. But then you had this panic attack. It could screw up a good moment from that point forward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And some people never get over it. They just quit and they drive a truck for a living.
Takes work.
Oh, yeah.
It takes some guts.
Yeah. So you said that with your playing golf, you had a motivation, and then I helped you change the motivation. So explain what that was.
Yeah, so I think when I first started, like I just described, it was, I was young and I was looking for something that it was interesting, that I was drawn to, that I was good at, and I was good at it. So it
Mhm.
was this a bit of an escape where I could just go play for hours around the yard and just go hit these little balls. And then it became, well, if you're good at it, then you want to see, can I get better? Can I get better? And then you get better, and eventually you end up on, in school, and you're playing on teams. And I was always the youngest and the smallest, and um, and some upperclassmen didn't like that. So I remember the the guy on the golf team was also the center on the basketball team. So he was, 6'6", 250 pounds, and I'm about a foot short of that and more than 100 pounds less than that. And so um, I would get bullied. I'd get beaten up. I'd get all other kinds of stuff. And, as a result, I started playing to prove people wrong. Absolutely prove them wrong. Because you can beat me up, you can bully me, you can steal from me, you can break my golf clubs, you can take all the balls out of my bag and throw them in the lake, you can do whatever, but you can't beat me. I can still beat you. The number on the scorecard still matters. And that's one of the things I've always loved about golf. It's the ultimate meritocracy. Tall, fat, short, fast, quick, anything. The only thing that matters is what number is on the scorecard and what do you shoot. So I cared so much about playing to prove people wrong, right? The undersized kid, the whatever. And I carried that from a very young age until a few years back. And so when you and I started working together, it was, why am I doing this? And I realized that, trying to gain acceptance from like my high school teammates, trying to gain acceptance, from people now, and doing it for all those reasons. And you know what? Like, if that's what motivates you, fine. For me, I needed to, like my friend Sue talks about, I was using the wrong fuel. I was burning the wrong fuel. I had to change to a cleaner kind of fuel because coming out of spite, that kind of stuff, and proving people wrong, it wasn't serving me. It was killing me. It wasn't doing good stuff. And so as a result, clean up all that stuff.
Mhm.
The concern, the anxiety, playing, all that stuff kind of goes away, clean it up. And what's fascinating is I got left in that spot of saying, okay, well, all right, you clean it up and you go, well, why do I want to play? And then I got had the chance to rethink it all up and dream it all up again, right? It became this thing of, I mean, it took me a while. It was hard, right? It was when I was free of that stuff, I didn't know why I wanted to play. I knew that I would go out and I'd practice, I'd enjoy it. It's kind of like, why do I want to keep doing this? And then I settled in on a couple of really simple things. One of them, I just want to see how good I can get. That's it. It's that simple. I just want to see how good I can get. I'm still good at it. I still enjoy it. And it's taught me so much. It's done so much for my life, right? You're out there in 100 degrees, hitting hundreds of golf balls, sweating your tail off, and you learn something doing that. You do. Your body, the grit, the resilience, the determination, the discipline, what it takes to do that. And then it became, well, I can take that stuff and apply that to the wonderful parts of my life where I want to use it. Those skills don't automatically go away with that bad reason to do it. Then it became, okay, well, what if I just see how good I can get?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of why I play now. I still, practice, rehearse, practice, excel. I mean, I'm still walking around the house with a golf club all the time. Commercial break on TV, I got a golf club, I'm swinging it in the house. I'm doing whatever. But it's less about now of that. I want to prove that guy wrong. I want to make that team. I want to, but it's that external. Now
Yeah, right there.
it
That's
comes
it.
from in here. I want to see how good I can get.
Yeah, yeah,
Period.
yeah.
And it's the most remarkable things start to happen when you do that. And
Mhm.
the most remarkable thing for me is when I would finish playing when I was at my worst, I was exhausted. done playing because my brain through the round was my body, my brain, I was exhausted. I come out playing now. It's like, hey, let's go play 18 more. It's fine. I'm not exhausted by it anymore.
Mhm.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
When you're burning different fuel,
Yeah.
it's just a completely different thing. I realize it's whether it's serenity prayer or it's the stoic side of it, however you want to think of it. But when I can control what I control, which is my effort, my intent, the meaning that I'm attaching to all this stuff. Because it used to be the meaning what the number I put on my life, the value of my life was dependent upon the number I hung on a scoreboard. It was it was, man, I'm a bad person today. I shot 75. Or I was a really good person today. I shot 68. Removing all that crap and understanding that once I cleaned up all that stuff, I got the freedom and I got the chance to reinvent why I wanted to do it and to figure it out and to map it back into, to attach the right kind of meaning to it. Um, and it's just meant so much that I get joy. I get joy from it now. Before it felt, I mean, look, I'm an amateur, right? I've got a job. I've got other stuff that I do. I'm good at golf, but this is not what I do for work. And it's just like, just keep it that way, man. You play a bad round. You come home, my dog still loves me. It's great. Perfect. My wife loves me more because, when I'd play poorly before I'd come home, I'd sulk, I'd be angry, I'd be whatever. It's like I couldn't leave that stuff just at the course. It came home with me. And so, I mean, the first step was kind of getting rid of that. But then at the same time, it's when you think it up and you dream it up, you're doing it out of joy and you're doing it out of wonderful things. It just completely different feeling. It just completely changes your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is extremely important because it is really because even though you could be the best, but when you go home, you're not happy inside yourself. And if you're driven by hurt, pain, resentment, anger, just like Tim, he was successful. But inside of him, what drove his success was anger, frustration, rejection, and then he was ready to kill himself. But now you're driven by damn, I'm good. I love what I do. I enjoy this. How much better can I get? And then that breeds a whole different you when you come home. Even if you had a bad shot, it wasn't a bad shot. It was a learning experience. And you come home, your dog loves you, your wife loves you more. So again, it's the source that drives you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it does. I mean, it's it's hard to explain, right? I mean, it's kind of, when Crystal and I were talking a little bit yesterday to prep, it was the like tapping. It shouldn't work. It's too simple to work, but it works. And so when the first time that we had our session, I went out and I played. I remember exactly the first round I played after you and I, went through this stuff. And you show up and you're kind of like, is it going to happen? I'm waiting for it to show up. I'm waiting for it to show up. And then the next session you and I had, it was like, it didn't show up. And I'm wondering, and you're like, dude, all right, let's clean that up, which it just, it goes away.
Mhm.
It just goes away. And I mean, it doesn't matter why it goes away, but it goes away. And it's kind of weird. It's this light switch of just, it's gone.
Well, I know it seems weird, but it's very logical,
Yeah,
very
it is.
logical in my head, in my world. But to us unconsciously, it's like the lady she comes in and she's having panic attacks in the planes, the cars, the taxis, everything, the subway. And then I work on her, and then she's in the train. The subway says, "Where's my panic attack? I can't find it anywhere. What did you do with it?"
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
neurologically not there.
Right.
And really what we're doing is going right to the core, how it's internalized in your brain, how your brain internally represents it. When you change the neurological information and it's not there, because you go, well, it used to be here, you know? But the nice thing is, this is powerful stuff. It's direct neurological shifts and updates and rewrites. And that's the, I mean, you talk about saving money on therapy, you know? I mean, you could do it yourself. You could do one session with me, and if you, depends how much stuff you got and how deep and how good you are at it. We can knock out a lot of stuff that's been holding you back because it's just data written on the cells of your mind.
Yeah, I think of it in two dimensions, right? It's like when you got a drain that's all clogged up. That like a session with you is like use the snake, right? You gotta get that drain clogged so
Mhm.
that things can move, right? You bring in the heavy hitters and you say, oh, this isn't just like Drano or a plunger. This is I gotta get that rotor-rooter thing out, right? That's one. But so the other piece of it is when you learn about how the brain works and how the brain encodes this stuff, interprets that stuff, so that as things are coming in all throughout the day, that you get to choose how you encode it. You tap it in, you release it so that you prevent the drain from ever getting clogged in the first place. It's
Mhm.
both sides of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some stuff that I can do on me, but there's still, I mean, with all this stuff, there's still the need for like you said, like a guide or someone, because your brain, again, trying to keep you safe, your brain's
Mhm.
going to play tricks on you. It's going to
Mhm.
try and keep you safe. It's not going to let you go find a couple things, and you need
Yeah.
someone at times to say,
Yeah.
I see what your brain's doing. We need to outflank it and go after that because you can't do it yourself. You
Yeah. And
can't.
I think another thing too, even like I'm having this panic attack feeling. At the time, I had no idea why. No
Yeah.
idea. Nor most people would have that. They go, oh my God, I'm broken. There's something broken with me. I'm screwed up. I'm going to have therapists. I'm going to need medication. But since I have a process called the art of change, you ask questions, you figure out what the brain gives you, you find the sources that your brain is using to create a panic attack.
Yeah.
So it is very, very logical in this world because Eutaptics, FasterEFT is like learning a foreign language. It's like learning the language of the mind, the mechanics of the mind, how your mind process. And, like, I mean, I get sessions. I have my students give me sessions because I can't cut my hair very well. And sometimes my stuff is so obvious, but I can't see it.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm going through my stuff, I'm tapping along. I'm playing. I mean, I look back and I do evaluations, but sometimes the pieces are accumulated in different ways. And like I said, I'd rather someone cut my hair, I mean, I'd look bad as Crystal does.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it.
I've just been funny.
Oh,
But
Jay,
the point is
healing.
knowing what to do and knowing how to do it. And what I can do for you, since I'm not inside you, I don't believe what you have inside you is real and true because you believe it true and it's real. I can step back and I mean, I've been working this system for 27 years. I've worked with every possible angle, every possible program. I know how it works. And I can help sort out things very quickly, you know.
I think the one of the most wonderful and important parts is that it's it's understanding how it works, right? So kind of pre-Robert, post, and then post-Robert world for me, or in Robert world, I guess for me, right?
Mhm.
Pre-Robert, it's trying to step into a shot. This happens. I feel like I'm gonna die. I can't step in. Boom, and you go, oh my God, what's happening? What is happening? Right? Am I having a stroke? Am I having a whatever? Like what's happening? How is this happening? Don't know. As opposed to now, if that feeling ever kind of comes up, you go, oh, it's my unconscious mind doing this. I can work through this. Boom, boom, boom. I know the mechanics. Fine, totally cool. We're good. We're not going to die. It's demystifying some of that stuff is massively important. I mean, it's when you got it's like the owner's manual, I guess, whatever it is. But when you know exactly what's happening, it makes it less scary, and you also know that you can fix it.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? You know you can fix it as opposed to, and I mean, maybe not there in the moment, right? This is okay, let's get through this. And then after this, after the round, after the meeting, after the whatever, then you can go tackle that stuff. But I mean, at least for me, it was, and look, this stuff isn't taught. I think that's one of the more important things. And I don't know if Robert talks about that enough, right? Robert pats himself on the back enough, but I'll pat him on the back this time. which is we don't like this stuff isn't taught. These types of skills are not taught, right? We're taught to just these things happen. Oh, take a couple of deep breaths.
Hmm.
Bullshit,
Right.
right? Sorry, bullshit. Does
Yeah.
that is that part of what helps? Yeah, sure, that's part of what helps. But
Mhm.
we're not taught about how the mind works, how what depression really is, so many things. And a lot of it goes back to that happy journaling, class that I had with you, which was you write down all these wonderful memories. Okay. But you learn how to write memories and you focus only on the good aspects. And there's that great thing of how to F up any good memory, right? I had been rehearsing all the stuff that was screwing up all my good memories. It's like I had this great memory of my grandfather right before he died. It's like we went for a walk, we did this, it was great, wonderful, but then he died. And it's like, no, the memory is the walk.
Yes.
That's the walk. Rehearse that. The other stuff, it's important, it happened, fine. But write this down in the journal and rehearse it every single day. Rehearse it, rehearse it. And the more beautiful things that I kept rehearsing, the brain goes where you want, right? And as my wife loves to say, what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
Focus that. Focus on the happy journal, the dog no, of my first dog, of memories of my parents, of my brother, golf, events, family, all these other types of things. It's only the positive stuff of that stuff. And it's
Mhm.
understanding that the brain, you can't tell the brain no. No, not none of that stuff doesn't work. Direct the brain where it wants to, you want it to go. And so you have so much more control. I had no idea how any of that stuff worked.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
idea.
I think again what you're saying too, you have to understand the same model of manifesting a good life. You said how to F up a good memory, and people do a lot of that.
Yep.
But in how to have a depressed life, you got to do the exact same thing that you were doing, but you got to do it with the negative stuff.
Yep.
And we collect bad experiences. We replay bad experiences. We find people who have worse bad experiences so we can learn more about our bad experiences. So we compound the negativities, the bad shots. And when I work with the bull rider, he's going to ride the bull. He
Yep.
gets on the bull, and in his mind, he sees himself falling off. And the more he sees himself falling off, the more he falls off. And so then he catastrophizes his future.
Yep.
And again, there's two layers to this. One, bad memory, you got to dissipate, change, and update. Two, practice what you want,
That's right.
rewrite what you want, manifest, rehearse, and replay. And by the way, that's what you did, Adam. You got the books. You read the books. You imagine when you went to the ball, you saw the ball going in. The interesting thing with you, though, that you didn't just see it, you heard it and you felt it. You put
Oh yeah.
all the pieces together. That's what gives reality reality.
Yeah. I mean, I can. So in my happy journal, right? When my my partner and I qualify for so it kind of in golf, you've got, state level stuff, then you got national stuff. USGA that runs the US Open, all this stuff, they also have amateur events. So I qualified for my first amateur event back in 2021, national level stuff. It's at Chambers Bay, which is out just south of Seattle. And I still, to this day, in my happy journal, I have memories of rounds there where it's just, if I want to think about golf, I think about either playing around my front yard as a kid,
Mhm.
or I think about playing there. And whenever if I'm lacking confidence, if I'm lacking belief, if I'm whatever, I go back to those memories of all you're doing is hitting this little ball around that tree. You're doing that. Or you're standing on the first tee at Chambers. Or you're on this street, you're down there when the train went past. And I have on my phone, I have a video recorded when we were waiting on one of the tees of just the whole lands of just the place, the train going by, and you can hear it. I can smell it. I can all of it. And it's absorbing that stuff. And the more that, for me at least, the more I rehearse that stuff, the better it gets.
Mhm.
I mean, I could
Yeah.
sit here all day and you know, I could sit here all day and rehearse the bad stuff. I could choose to do that, but what's that going to get me? either in golf or in life, what's that going to get me? And, you know, so much in golf is about, right? You step up to a hole where narrow fairway, water on the left, water on the right. Are you going to stand there and go, don't hit it on the water, don't hit it in the water, don't hit it in the water? What are you going to do? You're going to hit it in the damn water.
Yeah.
I see this ball going at that tree, ending up on that tree. It's a 5 yard draw off of that. The wind's off the right. It's going to start there. It's going to end there. Hit it.
Yeah.
You have to tell it what to do.
Yeah. Take control.
Have to.
All right, Crystal.
So, Robert, yes. Robert, why do we remember the bad?
That's a good question. And the reason why we remember the bad and the reason why it's important, we want to remember the bad because usually the bad screams louder than the good.
Yeah.
The bad has, I need to save you, I need to protect you, I don't want this happen again. But the bad thing about remembering and collecting bad, the more you collect it, the more you remember it, the more you become it, the more you attract it, the more you date it, the more you marry it, you work for it, it becomes a major part of your survival system. Remember, to the brain, bad is not bad. It's just what is. Good
Yep.
is not good. It's just what is. And the reason why it collects it because it says, something bad happened. You need to be aware, be protected, But again, it creates a whole identity and value system and a whole new world. Your mother can pick you up at school every day, for every day that school lets you out. But one day she was late and you catastrophize. Oh my God, I'm alone. Something bad happened to her. That screams louder than the other times, the hundreds of times, the thousands of times that they were there for you.
Yep.
So the reason is it's just the brain collects it, says, well, we don't want this happen again. But the bad thing is the more you highlight it, the more you keep it, the more you get to do it again. So that's why.
In golf, this kind of gets to a little bit we were talking about earlier, but golf is if you can more or less stand upright and you're kind of, moderate physical, whatever capacity, you can pick up a golf club and you can attempt to hit a golf ball, right? Golf clubs, you can buy them very cheaply. Golf balls are cheap. You can go out to a range, you can do that. And as a result of that, you get a lot of people who just they do that. And that's fine, right? The problem is most people expect to hit good golf shots. They do. And there's so many people out there who are not good golfers who are out there swinging, trying to do a thing, and they expect to hit golf shots, really good golf shots. The problem with that is that when they hit a good golf shot, they just go, "See, I should do that every time." But that's one shot out of 100 from the basket that they hit, and all they do is dissect and obsess and everything over the 99 that didn't go well. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. Didn't do this. Then they hit one perfect one. I should do that every time. And they don't attach the same emotional meaning to that one shot. So you're
Mhm.
overwhelming with all the bad versus if I saw a kid doing this in DC once and people were making fun of him. He was an absolute genius for doing it. He was putting from like 5 feet. Every putt he made, he was celebrating, fist pumping, everything. And like, you can't sit there and expect the thing to go and just go, oh, that's what it's supposed to do. No, it's like I said earlier, it's a minor miracle when the right thing happens. It's so hard to do it. And you need to take that time and you go, wow, that felt great. That was wonderful. Commit that in as opposed to, see, I should do that every time. Whatever. Doesn't work that way. Because then all you're going to focus on is more energy that goes into the
Mhm.
bad, focus on the bad, and
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way.
That is so true, so true. Because when you celebrate it, you amplify it, you make it good, it becomes a major part. Because and when we talk about a bad dog and a good dog, who wins the fight? Whoever has the most emotional resources.
Yeah,
So if you do a good shot and you go, well, all right, yeah, I did that. You did a bad shot. You're investing in the bad dog.
that's right.
And so if it depends on how you handle the shot. You did a shot that wasn't so great. Said, oh great, what can I do now to change and adjust that? How can I do it better? What can I make improvement? And then see it in your mind, see it, play it, feel it, what you want.
The best golfers are curious.
Mm.
Curiosity. If you're on the range hitting balls, you're working on something, and it's when you hit a bad shot, it's the curiosity. It's immediately,
Mhm.
what happened? What caused that to happen? And then you hit a good one. what felt right on that one, as opposed to assigning good, bad, emotional. No, you watch the best players and they don't have a whole lot of you can find it nowadays, but when they'd sit on the range and they're hitting balls and you watch them, and the best players, they never get angry. They're curious.
Hmm.
Curiosity is this anti-emotional kind of thing where it's just, if you stay in that curiosity mode, then you're learning and you're engaging those parts of your brain that are about the learning side of it and excellence in pursuing it. And it's not so much about,
Yeah,
assigning the meaning of good and bad.
that's right. It's all a learning experience. All it
Yeah,
is.
absolutely it is.
That's so good.
Well, I would like to know about the breakthroughs. Yeah, so after working with Robert, I'd
Yeah.
like to know what are some of the breakthroughs that you experienced?
I could go on for a long time. Robert's meant a tremendous amount to my life. I think that I think there are a couple of things. One of them would be, as I kind of discussed earlier, he gave me a way of understanding the way that the brain works. And it somewhat demystifies the side of when things are happening. Like I can catch myself and I can see what my mind is trying to do. You can see it and you go, you're doing that again. Okay. When you have that awareness and you have the ability to understand it and to tap it out in the moment. So the understanding of what that is. Um, I think the biggest breakthroughs are that there were so many things in my life that date back to childhood that were running my life
Mm.
subconsciously. They were. There's traumas I had to get through and release. There were so many things that I just had to, things that they were ruling my life and I didn't even know it. And, there's that ignorance side of it. Then there's the side of it where when you start to bring some awareness to it, then you got to work with it. Then you got to work with it. You got to, as Robert says, you got to clean it up. You got to it's not that you got to get rid of it. You got to clean it up, right? It's because it's not leaving you. You're removing the emotional overload with that stuff, so that I've walked down my sidewalk a million times, but it was that one time when that dog got hit by the car, and that's the one that I remember, and it's because of the emotional charge attached to it. So each of those traumas, each of those elements, it's removing the emotional piece of it, so that I just remembered walking down the sidewalk for the rest of my life, right? And so, I mean, the breakthroughs. Here's a funny breakthrough. I'll share a funny one with you. So we have these water jugs that we fill at the market up the street for drinking water. And my wife is an incredible athlete. She's got the dropsies every now and again. So she'd put these things in the back of my car. We'd go up there and she just drops things. And when she would drop things before, I'd get angry. I would get like, come on, pay attention, do this. Like, why aren't you paying attention? You should be focused on this. But we're up at the market. We got the water jugs, load them in the back of the car, drops one, 3-gallon jug in the parking lot, everywhere. And I just broke out laughing. I just laughed out loud. And I kept laughing. And at the same time, I said, why the hell am I laughing? Because that program had been changed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
program
And
had
it,
been changed.
and it doesn't traumatize her anymore.
No, it doesn't traumatize her anymore, which is great. But I mean, it's kind of funny. It's just, dropping a water jug. But that was the matter of like, why is this, why was that different?
Hmm.
Why was that different?
Mhm.
And what's different is that I changed something within me and how I represented dropping something. And it's not like Robert and I sat there, hey, we're going to talk about your wife dropping water jugs. No, had nothing to do with that. But that's one element of a breakthrough. I mean, of course, in golf, it changed my life because, it was people didn't want to play with me. They didn't want to. Can't blame them. I was slow. I was a head case. I mean, no, you don't want to get near anybody like that. And I understood that, right? I understand it a lot more looking back now, but the breakthrough of now it's like people say, wow, you're just a normal golfer again. Like, yeah, back to being normal, right? So the breakthroughs in golf, and then, just it just so much of the stuff, it just freed me up into something that Sue and I work on all the time, right? Sue loves Robert, which is clearly, what meaning am I attaching to this?
Mm.
And having each moment as I go throughout my day, as things happen, the smallest things, the biggest things, it's okay, this happened. What meaning am I attaching to it? This person said this. Am I attaching a meaning that they personally wanted to come after me, or they just flippantly said something because their dad said it to them when they were 4 years old? I don't know, right? Do I want to tell, like a monk told me a while ago, it's like there's the big story, then there's the little story. Always tell yourself the little story, right? You got the chance to blow it into something else, but the meaning, just make it, what meaning am I attaching to this? And so by cleaning up so much of the things, it was the ability to slow things down in the moment and to clearly say, what meaning do I want to attach to this?
Mhm.
Right.
And it's liberating.
Mhm.
Can't put it any other way. It's
So did you,
liberating. It'll change your life.
it will. So did you learn a lot of the mechanics of the brain through You Can Change Yourself master training?
Yeah. So I need to pick it up. I need to finish it. I'm probably, I don't know, two-thirds, 75% of the way through EFT level one, faster EFT level one. I need to finish that up because, uh, yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, the trance is real. The trance is just, and that's where, there's this ability for smaller trances, we can clean ourselves up. Sometimes, like you said, you don't want to cut your own hair, right? You need the trances so deep that you need someone to as a guide to help you to do that. But yeah, I learned, I've watched probably every single one of Robert's videos on YouTube, all of them. But the magic one for me is still, it's EFT number 69.
Number 69. Yeah.
Number 69. It's the one where you're sitting there in that white shirt, white collared shirt. You don't have a beard. I forget where you are. And you walk through however many minutes of you actually walk them through it, like how it would be working with you one on one. Bring something to your mind. We're going to tap it out. And you go through it for probably 10, 15 minutes. So for a while, like if I've got something I'm working through, I will go to that video and it's like you're there with me, 10, 15 minutes, go through it. And if it's not done, go back, start it over. But I can type, it's like EFT. No, I know it's video number 69.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one.
I recently just did a new video. I mean, I didn't take that video down,
Yeah.
but I created a new version of it. And I need to put 69 in front of it so they'll find that one also because it's the newer
Yeah.
version. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I
that's
mean, like I said, for me, I mean, I'm a pretty analytical dude, but when I understood how it worked, it was empowering. The
mhm.
brain, that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the most powerful part about us. And of course, like with an athlete or just or the normal people and normal things of life, they overlook the most important part. And that's why they do it, what they do inside of themselves.
Yeah.
And if you can change that one element, that one internal piece, it'll redirect your whole life. There was a book called Mind Power for the 21st Century, and there was a chapter in there where they did a test group of three or four basketball players. Group one, they practiced physically. Group two, they didn't practice at all. Group three, they mentally practiced. And then when they got out on the court, and the one who mentally practiced the most outperformed the other two. So it's the mental game that wins, the mental
Yeah.
game that wins. And so um, I bought a new website domain. I think the inner game wins, something like that. The innergamewins.com. I don't have a website up. I just recently bought that. But it is the inner game that wins
It is.
every aspect of our life. And just like you said, it's what the meaning you give to it. And I say it's how you translate life. How do you
Yeah.
translate the experience? You know?
Right.
I think there's this thing that about what do we control and what do we not control? There's the upper view, lower view of the world, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think, look, there's a lot of ego that needs to die when we go through some of these learnings and these sessions, right? When we think about faster EFT and what it does, because the most important thing is that, and look, I fought this tooth and nail, but my mom or my brother or my dad or my friend or my wife or Robert or Chris, anybody, you're not doing that to me. I'm doing that to me.
Mm.
Whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever it might be, except for you like, physically doing something to me, right? But it is me representing, choosing to represent what you're saying, what you're doing to me, that's on me. And so there's this side of ownership and responsibility that I take, but there's also a tremendous amount of power in it. There's a tremendous amount of power because you have the ability to work through that and to change. I had the ability to work through it and change and say, how I represent these things, that's up to me. I can rewrite these things however I want them to be. And the power also that gave me, and like I said, the liberation, the freedom from it, my goodness, it's
Hmm.
can't say anything enough. I can't say enough, my friend.
I'm very proud of you. You've been a great person, as I can see you change over the years. We did a lot of good sessions. We cleaned up a lot of stuff. We helped you through some of the tough stuff. And be honest with you, it takes a really strong, powerful person to say, "Hey, I need some help, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes." And like I said, I'm so honored that you come today and shared your experiences. And I know it's going to help other people. It's going to
Why we
help a
do
lot of
them?
people. So I want to just thank you for that.
You're kind, and thank you for that.
You know, very
Yeah.
excited.
Thank you.
Amazing guy, a really amazing guy. It's like, and there's not really a lot of men who, I mean, there are some men who come into this stuff and they do use it, but it just takes a brave soldier who wants something more. And
I, I,
that-
I would, I want to touch really quick. I want to touch on something you just said, which is one of the things that my journey over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been, it's completely redefined what bravery is to me, right? There's all these, movies in Hollywood, and you think about what are heroes, what's bravery, all this kind of stuff. You can't ignore the fact that bravery is also defined by deciding to, what I called in the midst of all this stuff, deciding to lay myself bare, right? It takes, and when I've seen other people do it, and I've seen friends do it, other people, it takes guts and real effing guts to
Mhm.
go after the stuff and to clean it up because it's, I hate saying it's hard, it's intense.
Yeah.
Again, like rephrasing how I think about these things,
Yes.
right? I don't like
Mm.
hard is like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like
Yeah.
intense, there's almost like, oh, what do you mean it's intense? Um, but it's intense.
Mhm.
And the
It's going
bravery,
deep. It's going deep, cleaning up.
yep,
Coming out clean though.
coming
Coming out
out
clean.
clean, coming
Yes.
out clean. But it's, I mean, it's true bravery. One of the ways I think about true bravery is choosing to go after that stuff because the brain likes to keep us safe. It's like all the things that we define as ourselves, it's a warm blanket, right? I'm comfortable in all of my maladies. I'm comfortable in all this stuff. My identity is wrapped in this, and it might not be great, but it's comfy. I know what it is. And that fear of if I let that stuff go, who am I going to be? I was one of those people. I said, my goodness, if I let go of all this stuff, who am I going to be?
Mm.
And I think the simple answer is you're going to be better
And happier, in
and,
control.
and happier in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Let me say this too. Guys, if you're here watching this and you've got the stuff too, you need to clean up, you can do it. I mean, you probably need some help doing it, but there is hope. What your mother and your father, or whoever else had done to you and how they treated you, it impacts you. You'll share that with your children. You'll share it with your neighbor. You'll share it with other people. Your hurt affects people too. To give the world a better place is to give the world you in a better space. It means make peace with your head, make peace with your memories. And as you do it, like Adam had said, it has a ripple effect all across the board. My relationships, my sports performance, how I see other people, how I respond to other people. There is a way, and the way is going inside. And who will you be when it's all said and done? Happier, more in control, peaceful. The world will shift and change with you because you see the world from a different set of eyes. Your parents and whoever else had it impacted you did the best they could too. They were hurt. You were hurt. Don't pass the hurt down to the next generation. Invest in yourself. I do sessions. I can help sort you out. I have You Can Change Yourself course. It'll show you how to work on yourself, show you the game plan of your mind, and it will change you in a more powerful, more productive way. The world needs a healthier you. And because when you're healthier, you impact other people. And the most important people are the ones who are the closest to you. So do invest in you. We're here to hold your hand. We're to guide you. We're patient with you. We got team players who will help support you. We got education. We've got lots of things for you. Just do something better. I don't know about you. I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to be tormented anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm the only one anymore. And you're not. So I just want you to sign up for a course, book a session, watch some videos, just do something different.
All right. So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. If today's conversation changed the way you think about performance, be sure to check out the link in the show notes to explore sessions, tools, resources that are designed to help you master the mental and the emotional side of your game. And remember to subscribe to the podcast to stay connected and get a front row seat to Robert's insights, strategies, and wisdom to help you perform at your highest level in sports and in life.
Big thank you, Adam. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful you even came with us. This is really great. Thank you.
Of course, it's the least I can do.
All right, good job. Peace, everyone.
Yeah, peace.